What if I told you that the secret to steadier blood sugar, healthier cholesterol, and a lighter body wasn't hidden in an expensive pill or some trendy supplement, but in a simple leaf that has been part of human history for thousands of years? At first, you might think it sounds like one of those overblown claims you've heard before. And I get it. When everything is advertised as a miracle, it's hard to believe anything at all. But this story is different. Because this isn't about hype or shortcuts. It's about an ancient leaf with modern science behind it, and how it can quietly change the way your body feels and functions. If you're over 60, you already know how health can start to feel like a daily battle. One year, the doctor tells you your blood sugar is creeping up. The next year, it's your cholesterol. Meanwhile, that stubborn belly weight refuses to leave, no matter how carefully you eat. Add in the fatigue, the restless nights, and the stress of wondering what the future holds, and it can feel overwhelming. That's why it's so tempting to look for a fix. Something simple, natural, and affordable that actually helps. And sometimes the answers really are simple. Across centuries and cultures, people have turned to plants not just for flavor, but for healing. They didn't know the science, but they knew the results. Today, researchers are confirming that many of these traditional remedies work because the leaves are packed with compounds that reduce inflammation, steady blood sugar, and protect the heart. Among all of them, one leaf in particular stands out: the olive leaf. The olive tree has been a symbol of peace and resilience for thousands of years. Its fruit gives us olive oil, often called liquid gold. But it's the leaves that carry some of the strongest health benefits of all. Modern studies show that olive leaves contain a compound called oleuropein, which acts as an antioxidant, an anti-inflammatory, and a metabolic booster all at once. In other words, it supports your body in several of the exact areas that tend to weaken with age: blood sugar, cholesterol, belly fat, energy. It doesn't promise overnight miracles, but it offers steady support where you need it most. That's why in this video, olive leaf is our main character, the star of the story. I want to dive deep into what makes it so powerful, share real-life experiences of people who've used it, and show you simple ways to bring it into your daily routine. And then, once you've met our star, I'll introduce you to a few supporting actors, other leaves that focus on specific issues like digestion, detox, or inflammation. Think of them as allies that can strengthen the foundation olive leaf already builds. So before you dismiss this as just another health trend, give me a few minutes to show you why this one leaf has stood the test of time. It's not about magic. It's about rediscovering something ancient, proven, and surprisingly accessible. By the end, you'll see why olive leaf deserves a place not just in history, but in your own kitchen today. Olive leaf may not look like much, but inside it carries one of the most powerful natural compounds for aging bodies: oleuropein. This antioxidant and anti-inflammatory agent helps with three of the biggest struggles people face after 60: unstable blood sugar, high cholesterol, and stubborn belly fat. That's why I call olive leaf the main character of this story. Let's start with blood sugar. As the years go by, our cells often become less responsive to insulin, leaving glucose stuck in the bloodstream. That leads to sugar spikes, crashes, and fatigue. Olive leaf compounds can improve insulin sensitivity, which means your body uses sugar more effectively instead of storing it as fat. The result isn't magic. It's steadier energy and fewer afternoon crashes. Next is cholesterol. Doctors often warn us about LDL, the bad cholesterol that clogs arteries and raises the risk of heart disease. Olive leaf helps lower LDL and raise HDL, the good cholesterol that clears fat from the blood. Think of it as a natural cleanup crew, gently supporting your heart every day. And then there's inflammation and belly fat. Low-grade inflammation is like a fire smoldering in the body, making weight gain and health problems worse. Olive leaf calms that fire. It also activates enzymes that help your cells burn fat more efficiently, especially around the belly and liver. Again, the results are modest, but over time they add up to a body that feels lighter and functions more smoothly. I once spoke to a woman named Linda, 68 years old, who added olive leaf tea to her nightly routine. She wasn't expecting miracles, just a calming drink before bed. But after 6 months, her doctor noted her cholesterol had improved, and Linda herself said she felt less bloated and more at ease in her own skin. Her story isn't unique. Small, steady habits can ripple outward into real change. So how do you use it? The simplest way is tea. Steep dried olive leaves in hot water for 10 minutes. If you prefer convenience, capsules or extracts are also available. The key is consistency. 1 cup won't change anything, but a daily ritual over weeks and months can. Of course, natural doesn't mean risk-free. Olive leaf can amplify the effects of blood sugar or blood pressure medications, so it's important to consult your doctor if you're already on treatment. Respect it as you would any other tool. For me, what makes olive leaf special isn't just the science. It's the reminder that healing doesn't always come from something new. Sometimes it's been in front of us all along, waiting for us to pay attention. The olive tree has stood as a symbol of peace and resilience for thousands of years. Its leaves now carry that same message to our health: calm the body, steady the numbers, and support a stronger heart. Not a miracle, but a reliable companion for the years ahead. When we talk about inflammation, most people think of swollen joints or visible pain. But the more dangerous kind is silent, the low-grade inflammation that quietly damages blood vessels, makes blood sugar harder to control, and pushes belly fat to stick around. If olive leaf is the general leading the fight, then sage and holy basil are the loyal lieutenants, each bringing their own strengths to calm that hidden fire. Sage has been used in kitchens and healing traditions for centuries. Its very name comes from the Latin word salvare, meaning to heal. Modern studies now confirm what tradition already knew. Sage is rich in compounds that soothe inflammation at the cellular level. But that's not all. Sage also helps improve insulin sensitivity, allowing the body to absorb glucose more smoothly. For people who deal with sugar spikes after meals, sage can feel like a gentle stabilizer. I once heard a story of a retired teacher who began drinking sage tea in the mornings. She said it didn't replace her medication, but it gave her steady energy and made her feel more grounded. Sometimes that feeling of stability is just as important as the numbers on a lab test. Holy basil, often called tulsi in Ayurvedic tradition, carries a different kind of power. Beyond its anti-inflammatory effects, it helps the body manage stress. Stress hormones, especially cortisol, are one of the hidden drivers of belly fat. When cortisol levels stay high, the body holds on to fat, particularly around the waist. Holy basil seems to help bring those levels down naturally, while also calming the nervous system. I once read about a widower in his 70s who made holy basil tea part of his nightly ritual. He said it didn't just help his digestion, it eased the loneliness of his evenings, giving him a sense of calm that carried into better sleep. Together, sage and holy basil form a powerful duo. Sage works on the sugar-insulin balance. Holy basil tackles stress and cortisol, and both fight inflammation from different angles. For an older body struggling with blood sugar swings, creeping cholesterol, and restless nights, this combination can feel like a reset button. Not dramatic, not immediate, but steady and reassuring. What I love about these leaves is that they're accessible. You don't need rare supplements or expensive powders. Sage is often right in the spice rack. Holy basil can be found as tea bags in most health stores. All it takes is consistency. A cup in the morning, a cup at night, repeated over weeks, can begin to shift how the body feels. It's not about chasing miracles. It's about giving your body a calm, steady environment to heal. And perhaps that's the real lesson of sage and holy basil. They don't fight loudly. They work quietly, reducing the stress and fire that slowly wear us down. And when that fire is calmed, the body naturally finds more balance, with blood sugar, with weight, and with energy. Think of them as two gentle hands supporting olive leaf, making the main character's job easier, helping the body not just survive but feel lighter, calmer, and more resilient. If sage and holy basil are the warriors that calm hidden inflammation, parsley, dandelion, and mint are like the caretakers who help clear the clutter, sweep out the excess, and let the body breathe more easily. They don't just support digestion, they help the whole system feel lighter and more refreshed. Parsley is often dismissed as nothing more than decoration on a dinner plate, but it deserves far more respect. This bright green herb is a natural diuretic, meaning it helps the body release excess fluid and sodium. For older adults who often feel swollen ankles or that uncomfortable puffiness in the belly, this simple leaf can be a gentle relief. Parsley is also packed with vitamins A, C, and K, along with minerals like potassium and iron. I once met a woman who started blending parsley into her morning smoothies. At first she thought it was odd, but after a few weeks, she said her rings fit more comfortably and her legs didn't feel as heavy at night. That kind of daily lightness changes the way you move through the day. Dandelion is another overlooked treasure. Most people see it as a weed in the lawn, not realizing it's one of nature's best detoxifiers. Dandelion supports the liver, the body's main filter for toxins, fats, and sugars. When the liver is sluggish, everything feels harder. Digestion slows down, fat builds up, energy crashes. Dandelion tea or greens can help cleanse and stimulate the liver, giving metabolism a fresh start. I once read about a community garden where seniors harvested their own dandelion leaves. They brewed tea together each week, and many reported that after just a month, they felt more energetic and less weighed down after meals. It wasn't just about health, it was about reclaiming a sense of vitality. Mint, meanwhile, is probably the most familiar of the three. Its cool, refreshing flavor makes it perfect for teas, salads, or even just a sprig in water. But mint is more than a flavor. It soothes the digestive tract, reduces bloating, and helps food move more smoothly through the system. For people who often feel uncomfortable after eating, a simple cup of mint tea can make a big difference. And just like parsley, mint has a mild diuretic effect, helping the body shed excess fluid. One older gentleman I know started adding mint to his afternoon water. He told me it didn't just make his drink taste better, it made him feel less heavy, less sluggish, and even curbed his cravings for sweets. Together, parsley, dandelion, and mint form a gentle cleansing team. Parsley flushes out water and supports the kidneys. Dandelion clears and strengthens the liver. Mint calms the stomach and keeps digestion flowing. They don't work like harsh cleanses or extreme detox diets that leave you exhausted. Instead, they nudge your body back toward balance, making it easier to handle the food you eat and the stress you carry. What makes these leaves special is their simplicity. They're not exotic. They're not expensive. Most of us already have them in the kitchen or can easily find them at the store. The challenge isn't getting them. It's remembering to use them consistently. A sprinkle of parsley on your meal, a cup of dandelion tea in the morning, a handful of mint leaves in your water, tiny rituals that together create a body that feels lighter, calmer, and more at ease. And that's the role of this team in our story. They're the quiet helpers who don't ask for attention, but make all the difference in how we feel day to day. When the body is less bloated, less heavy, and more efficient at processing food, everything else, from energy to mood, feels more manageable. They may not be dramatic, but they are dependable, and sometimes that's exactly what we need most. If olive leaf is the main character and sage, basil, parsley, dandelion, and mint are the support crew, then rosemary and mulberry are like the trainers in the background, nudging your metabolism to work harder and helping your body burn fat more efficiently. They don't shout, but they quietly reset the way energy flows inside you. Rosemary is a fragrant herb most of us associate with roasted potatoes or chicken. Its aroma alone can make a kitchen feel warm and inviting. But beneath that flavor lies a surprising gift. Rosemary stimulates circulation and supports the mitochondria, the tiny engines inside our cells that burn fuel for energy. When mitochondria work better, your body naturally burns more fat instead of storing it. That's why some studies link rosemary to improved fat metabolism. I remember a family friend who swore by her morning rosemary tea. She said it helped her focus more than coffee, but without the jitters. Over time, she also noticed she didn't gain weight as easily, even though her habits hadn't changed much. Whether it was the tea itself or the ritual that came with it, she felt her body running more smoothly. Beyond metabolism, rosemary also protects the heart. It lowers LDL cholesterol, helps blood flow more freely, and reduces the silent inflammation that often slows everything down. For someone over 60, these small shifts can mean fewer energy crashes and a sense that the body is lighter on its feet. Mulberry leaf, meanwhile, has a reputation that's growing quickly, especially in communities managing diabetes. In traditional medicine, mulberry has been used for centuries, but now modern research is showing why. The compounds in mulberry leaf slow down the absorption of carbohydrates after meals, which means less of a blood sugar spike and less fat storage. Over time, that leads to steadier energy and better weight management. For people trying to reduce belly fat, the most stubborn and dangerous kind, mulberry can be a quiet but effective ally. One case that struck me was of an older man who started drinking mulberry tea after lunch. He had always felt exhausted in the afternoons, sometimes even dozing off. After a month of this simple habit, he noticed his afternoons were clearer, his energy steadier, and his waistline a little less tight. The change wasn't dramatic, but it was enough to give him confidence and hope. And sometimes that hope is the spark we need to keep going. Together, rosemary and mulberry form a team that supports metabolism from two sides. Rosemary helps the body burn fuel more efficiently, like upgrading the engine in a car. Mulberry makes sure the fuel coming in is handled more smoothly, preventing sugar spikes and fat storage. For older adults whose metabolism has slowed down with age, these two leaves act like a gentle push, encouraging the body to find its rhythm again. The beauty of both is how accessible they are. Rosemary can be used fresh from the garden or bought dried in almost any store. Mulberry tea is becoming more common and easy to find online. They don't require fancy preparation. Just a sprig steeped in hot water or a tea bag after a meal. The simplicity itself makes them sustainable. At the end of the day, losing fat after 60 isn't about punishing workouts or extreme diets. It's about making metabolism more efficient step by step with habits you can actually keep. Rosemary and mulberry don't promise quick fixes, but they make it easier for your body to do what it already wants to do. Use energy wisely, keep sugar balanced, and let go of what it doesn't need. And that's why I call them the fat-burning allies. They're not stars on their own, but when they stand beside olive leaf and the rest of the team, they help complete the picture of a healthier, lighter, and more resilient body. Facts and studies can be convincing, but nothing sticks in our minds quite like real stories. When we hear how someone else has managed their health struggles with small, natural changes, it feels less like theory and more like possibility. Over the years, I've collected stories from older adults who've used these leaves in simple ways and found surprising results. John was a retired mechanic in his 70s. He had lived most of his life on his feet, but by the time he stopped working, his energy would crash every afternoon. His doctor warned him about prediabetes, and John dreaded the thought of more medication. His daughter suggested mulberry tea. At first, he laughed. "I've fixed engines my whole life, and now I'm supposed to fix myself with a leaf?" But he gave it a try. Within a month, he noticed that after lunch, his blood sugar didn't spike as high, and he no longer needed to nap on the couch. He said the tea didn't just steady his energy, it gave him peace of mind. Proof that small steps could still make a difference. Then there was Linda, 68 years old, who had always struggled with cholesterol. No matter how careful she was, her LDL numbers remained stubbornly high. A friend introduced her to olive leaf tea. She didn't expect much, just something calming to drink before bed. 6 months later, her doctor was surprised to see her cholesterol improve modestly. But Linda cared less about the numbers than how she felt. She said, "I feel lighter, less bloated, more comfortable in my own body." It wasn't a miracle, but it was enough to change the way she carried herself. May, a retired teacher in her 70s, faced a different challenge: stress. After her husband passed, she often turned to sugary snacks to cope with loneliness. That habit only made her blood sugar and weight harder to manage. A friend gave her lemon balm tea. At first, it just tasted nice, but slowly she realized she wasn't reaching for sweets as often in the evenings. The tea didn't erase her grief, but it softened the edges, calmed her mind, and gave her body a chance to stabilize. May said, I thought it was just tea, but it helped me feel less alone. And then there was a group of seniors at a community center who decided to grow parsley and dandelion together in a shared garden. What began as a health experiment quickly became a social ritual. Every week they brewed tea, shared meals, and compared notes. Some noticed their ankles didn't swell as much. Others felt less heavy after dinner. A few even reported better sleep. But the biggest change wasn't just physical, it was connection. They found joy in the act of caring for themselves and each other. The leaves gave them more than health. They gave them community. What I love about these stories is that none of them are about miracles. Nobody claimed their problems vanished. Instead, what they describe are small but steady shifts. Smoother energy, lighter digestion, calmer emotions, modest improvements on lab tests. These are victories that feel real and sustainable. For someone navigating the challenges of aging, those victories are often exactly what they need. Not perfection, but progress. And maybe that's the deeper truth here. The leaves themselves aren't magic. The magic comes from the people who use them with consistency, patience, and hope. Their stories show us that it's not too late to feel better, and that nature still has something to offer if we're willing to listen. Whenever we hear about a single leaf that promises to lower blood sugar, reduce cholesterol, and melt belly fat, it's natural to be suspicious. And honestly, that's a good thing. Skepticism protects us from hype and disappointment. So let's set the record straight about what these leaves can and cannot do. First, they are not magic bullets. Olive leaf, sage, parsley, rosemary, none of them will erase decades of unhealthy habits overnight. The science behind them shows modest improvements. A small drop in LDL cholesterol, a steadier blood sugar curve, a slight reduction in belly fat, less bloating after meals. On paper, those changes may look minor, but think about what they mean in real life. A steadier glucose level means fewer energy crashes and less strain on the pancreas. A bit less LDL cholesterol means arteries are a little clearer and the heart is under less pressure. Reduced bloating means you can move more comfortably and sleep more easily. Add these small shifts together, and they become a meaningful improvement in quality of life. Second, natural doesn't mean risk-free. Because these leaves really do have active compounds, they can interact with medications. Parsley and dandelion, for example, are natural diuretics and may affect people taking blood pressure pills. Olive leaf can enhance the effects of diabetes medications, which could cause blood sugar to dip too low if not monitored. This is why it's essential to consult a healthcare provider before making them a daily habit. Respect these leaves as you would any other tool. They're gentle, but they are still powerful. Third, you might wonder, if these leaves are so effective, why aren't they used in mainstream medicine? The answer isn't that they don't work, it's that they can't be patented. Pharmaceutical companies rarely invest in large-scale clinical trials for plants they can't own as products. That leaves most of the research to universities and smaller groups. The studies we have are promising, but not massive. That's why the medical system tends to view these remedies as supportive rather than primary treatments. And that's fine. They don't need to replace modern medicine to be valuable. Fourth, we need to avoid the myth of shortcuts. No leaf, no herb, no supplement can outdo a lifestyle of processed food, no movement, and constant stress. These natural tools are allies, not saviors. They work best when combined with balanced eating, regular activity, proper sleep, and emotional care. Think of them as helpers that give your body small advantages. They make healthy living easier, not automatic. I like to compare it to gardening. You can plant the best seeds in the world, but if you never water them or give them sunlight, nothing will grow. Herbs and leaves are like seeds of support. They need the right environment, your daily habits, to flourish. Once they do, they provide steady, lasting benefits. So if someone tells you that olive leaf will melt 10 pounds of fat in a week, or that sage tea will cure diabetes, you can smile and walk away. That's marketing, not truth. But if someone tells you that these leaves can gently nudge your metabolism in the right direction, reduce stress, and give your body a more stable foundation, that's worth listening to. The truth is simpler than the hype. These leaves won't change your life in one night, but used consistently with patience and respect, they can change the way your life feels every day. And that's a kind of miracle that no marketing slogan can capture. So after hearing all of this, you might be wondering, where do I start? A long video is inspiring, but real change only happens when you take a simple first step. That's why I want to leave you with a clear, practical action plan, something you can try this week without feeling overwhelmed. Step 1. Begin with the star. For the first 4 weeks, focus only on olive leaf. Brew 1 or 2 cups of olive leaf tea each day, one in the morning, one in the evening, or use a supplement if that's easier. Don't worry about perfection, just build the habit. This is your foundation, because olive leaf offers the broadest support for blood sugar, cholesterol, and inflammation. Step 2. After 1 month, add a specialist if you need it. Think about your biggest concern and choose a leaf that matches. If blood sugar swings are your challenge, try adding sage tea in the morning. If you often feel heavy, bloated, or swollen, add mint or parsley after meals. If belly fat and sluggish metabolism are the main issue, bring in rosemary or mulberry tea. Just 1 extra leaf is enough. Don't overload yourself by trying everything at once. Step 3. Stay consistent and pay attention. Give each new habit at least 4 weeks before making judgments. Notice how your body feels. Are your afternoons steadier? Is your digestion lighter? Do you feel less tense? Write it down if you can. Progress is often quiet and easy to miss unless you track it. Step 4. Keep it simple. These leaves are allies, not saviors. Pair them with small, sustainable lifestyle habits. Gentle walks, balanced meals, better sleep. The combination is where the real transformation happens. So the plan is simple. Month 1. Olive leaf every day. Month 2. Add 1 supporting leaf that fits your need. Keep it steady, keep it light. By focusing on 1 step at a time, you'll avoid overwhelm and build habits that last. We've taken quite a journey together, from the quiet power of olive leaf to the supportive roles of sage, basil, parsley, dandelion, mint, rosemary, and mulberry. Along the way, we heard real stories of people who found hope and strength in these simple habits. And we've also been clear about what these leaves can and cannot do. They aren't magic, but they are allies, gentle, steady, and reliable companions on the path to better health. The lesson is simple. Healing doesn't always come in dramatic packages. It doesn't have to mean expensive treatments, strict diets, or overwhelming routines. Sometimes it begins with something humble, like steeping a handful of leaves in hot water and taking a few quiet minutes for yourself. That small act is more than tea. It's a ritual of care, a message to your body that you're still listening, still nurturing, still willing to change. Think about the stories we shared. John, who steadied his afternoons with mulberry tea. Linda, who found comfort and confidence in her nightly olive leaf ritual. May, who discovered that lemon balm eased her cravings by calming her spirit. And the group of seniors who turned parsley and dandelion tea into a source of laughter and community. These weren't miracles. They were small victories. And small victories, repeated day after day, become lasting transformation. So here's the takeaway. Start small, stay steady, and trust the process. Begin with olive leaf, then add a supportive herb if you need it. Don't chase everything at once. Don't get lost in hype. Choose simplicity. Because when you give your body consistent, gentle support, it responds. Not overnight, but gradually, in ways that make life feel lighter, calmer, and more in your control. If this video gave you something useful, I'd love to hear your story. Share your experiences in the comments. Your journey might be the encouragement someone else needs to begin. And if you found this helpful, please give it a like and subscribe so we can keep exploring simple, natural ways to stay strong together. Remember, health is not about perfection, and it's never too late to start. Sometimes all it takes is 1 small step, 1 quiet cup of tea, 1 leaf at a time. And that leaf, humble as it may be, could become the symbol of a stronger, healthier, more resilient you.